guys, we don't have the awesome new setup with the... I can't even see myself.
Wow, that's the
I
most
can't even
important
see
thing,
myself.
isn't it? The mic is blocking Sam's face from being able to see himself.
We don't have the new cool intro, the animated intro. We still have the ghetto intro, okay, with the Lamon Gamon. Everyone, we're doing a special episode today because somebody is away this weekend without naming names.
Taking time off.
Jesus.
What the hell? That's not allowed.
How dare he?
What is this?
He's working on his Sekiro review, everyone. That'll happen.
Going to a special mountain retreat.
Yes.
To prepare for the rage
Of
that
course.
will ensue. So, hello everyone, welcome. It is a special edition of Laymen today. Good to be here. It's a weekly news dump where we take the smaller news items that we didn't cover during the week and we talk about them, or just the stuff that's happened in like the last 24 hours that we haven't had a chance to do a video on yet.
Yep.
Sam, let's start with, oh, by the way, nice hat, Sam.
I was going to say, let's start with the hat, everybody.
Yeah.
We had, like, true story. Okay, Ralph was like, what do you want for your birthday? I'm like, not an Anthem hat. He's like, cool, Anthem hat it is. 3 or 4 days later, I get this in the mail. I'm like, booyah, this is the new Layman hat attire. We should sell it in the merch store.
We need, yeah, we should. We'll get sued instantly.
Oh, they'd be like, finally, a chance we can sue them. Awesome.
We need a Fallout 76 hat to join the collection.
We're also going to get that. And look, the moment Diablo Immortals hat goes on
Yes.
sale, I know it's going to be a meme, so we are going to get that hat, okay? So
Definitely.
we're up to date now with our merch and attire, everyone.
Definitely. So, Sam, what have you been playing this week?
Well, Ran It From the Ashes, actually, which was actually really good.
Yes, we did a video on that yesterday.
Yeah, Jim Sterling, also a huge fan
Jim
of that game.
Sterling loved that game as well.
Huge fan of that game. Check out his review,
check out
okay?
his review.
Both our reviews are very much aligned, okay?
In fact, if you just watch Jim's review, you really get, like, you don't need to watch our review at that point,
Exactly.
actually. It's still taken care of. You
Exactly. And then also, of course, good old Overwatch, Super Smash Brothers, come on now. And that's all I've been playing. But all you've been doing is pretty much playing Final Fantasy.
I've been playing Final Fantasy, I've been playing Remnant, I've been playing a little bit of Control as well, which is going to be out next week.
That's right. I need to get that off you. That's
yes,
right. I need
you'll
to
get
play
that off me.
Yes.
And I think that's all I played this week. But it's been a good week. There's been some good releases. I'm excited for what's coming up. We're now getting into the busy period of the year.
Yes.
Where like stuff starts coming out.
September's going to be pretty big. There's the
gonna be
Destiny
massive.
expansion, right? And then there's also the Borderlands.
Yeah, which I'm way less psyched for now after all their dick moves.
Yeah, it's
like,
been
way
a big
less psyched
meme
for
fest, but it's been great for the channel, let's be honest now. Come on now.
Yeah.
But, I mean, apart from that, what else is in September?
Greedfall actually is in September.
I don't know what that is.
It's like, imagine The Witcher meets Dragon Age.
Okay.
Two games you've played extensively,
Yes,
obviously. Yes, of course.
Definitely. Looking forward to the
And-
Switcher, because then I will play The Witcher 3 more than I've actually had. I've literally only played an hour of that game. But, anyway... News. Okay?
News.
Let's get to the
Let's-
news.
let's-
I think that's a good
let's
segue.
get right to the
Based on
news.
Sam hasn't finished The Witcher yet, and only played an hour of it, let's get to the news. The
I
game
agree. Let's
news.
start with the top news story.
Speaking of CD Projekt Red, see
Yeah.
that was the transition we were looking for.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
So, okay, basically, we've got a gameplay stream announcement here from our Lord and Savior, CD Projekt Red.
Yes. Now,
They
look,
said-
I was going to say, a lot of people like ourselves
May I read the announcement
Okay,
first, Sam?
Ralph can read it.
May
then.
I read the news before we
I will-
comment on the news?
I will allow.
That would be nice.
I will
Thank you very
allow.
much.
Okay.
Gameplay stream announcement. We're in Cologne, Germany at Gamescom. It's in full swing. We've already met so many wonderful community members. For those of you at home, whoever it is, we're not forgot about you either. Next week, we're going to host a stream during which we'll unveil a 15-minute edit of what we've been showing to journalists and gamers here at Gamescom, and then interview devs from the studio for additional information on what you just saw. Expect a lot of insight into the thought process behind creative decisions, information about Pacifica, one of the districts of Night City, and tons of stuff and playstyles you'll be able to adopt when you launch Cyberpunk next year. So,
Yeah. Firstly, so look, they might have held it in Cologne, but Gamescom is going to have some sweaty gamers. Gonna have
Sam.
a lot of sweaty gamers.
Good joke, Sam. Really good joke.
I thought it was pretty good, actually.
It actually
Okay.
does. It actually does stink at Gamescom. By
Of
the way,
course,
because
gaming conventions, man.
No, but this one in particular.
Conventions in general.
There's so many people at Gamescom. It is like a nightclub at 3 a.m. and like in summertime. It stinks so badly.
I really
in
want to
there.
go to Gamescom. Ralph's like, there's no point. It's just you just feel like you're in this.
You do.
Yeah, a sardine can. But
Yes.
we are going. I'm going to take you to Tokyo Game Show. Ralph is not.
So
this
bummed
year.
about that.
Okay.
I'm
Anyway,
home playing Borderlands. So anyway,
yes. So look, I look at this and go, we did see 50 minutes of it. Okay.
5-0 minutes.
5-0.
That's right, not 15.
We were at E3. I think we saw that. Yeah. Now, it's a bit of a shame that they're doing that because I believe that last time they did actually show the full amount of gameplay that we saw, right?
Yeah, the way it worked is
Last
last year at E3 they showed us gameplay and everyone was like, oh my god, the journalists were basically just like, you know, constant. Well, whatever, you know.
I don't know where Ralph was going with that. Okay.
For like the next few months after that, and then the regular people had to wait a few months before they could see that gameplay clip, and then they got to see the whole thing. Right? It was uploaded to Twitch. There was like an ARG before then. You know those like action or those reality games where people have to follow clues. Is that ARG? I don't know, whatever.
I don't know where else
The
going
point
with
is,
this.
it was one of those things that eventually led to like, hey, cool, we saw it as a full 50 minutes of gameplay. It was the same as what we saw at E3, or pretty much the same. I should say, like 98% the same. They had an extra weapon in there or something, and they also flipped the genders of the characters.
Oh, yes.
So there was that. That was it. So this time around, though, this E3 footage that we saw, it's apparently now only going to be a 15-minute edit of it. And it's interesting because some of the feedback about that demo was that it wasn't as exciting as a lot of people had hoped, and a lot of people had criticisms about the weapon mechanics. Now, for me personally, it was exciting, and I was fine with the weapon mechanics.
Sure.
I thought they looked great. But a lot of people sort of jumped on that, being like, oh, I don't know about Cyberpunk right now. Feeling a bit nervous about this.
No, I totally hear you. And look, when I saw that, I also felt that's Final Fantasy VII noise, everybody. That's my ringtone. When I looked at that, I'm thinking, okay, cool. They're not looking for the, they weren't trying to give a bang. They were more like, let's show what's under the hood.
Yes, exactly right.
If they did another one of like, hey, let's also make a huge, gigantic trailer just with a lot of explosions, a lot of gunplay and whatever, which it did have at some moments, a lot of people would have walked away still going, I don't know anything more about this game.
Yeah.
This whole thing was like, let's show people how this game actually works mechanically.
In terms of its RPG systems,
all that
it's not just about how guns fire,
Yeah.
but about the decisions you make, the roles you can play. Like in the demo we saw, you actually played through an area twice, and you played through it one time as like a run and gun, shooty dude, and then you played through it again as like a... As a what?
As a hacker.
As a
Zombra.
Right, okay, right.
Overwatch reference, Ralph.
Nice.
Doesn't play it.
So,
what a noob.
So, I mean, look, I think, with regards to this 15-minute edit, we're probably going to see something that is tighter and more flashy. I hope they still focus on the RPG systems. They did say specifically, showing you the different play styles that you can adopt when you're playing through the game. So that's good. But don't expect this trailer to be as action-packed as the last one that we saw, because that one was obviously huge in terms of action, and this one's a different focus.
I'm guessing here that they're going to show 15 minutes of more consumer friendly in terms of just like maybe just the the bigger moments in that 50 minutes. It's not going to be more for journalists and YouTubers and stuff that that are going to report on it. It's more like
games journalists and sellout YouTubers.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be showing just like the bigger parts of that, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
especially off the feedback that they received from other people saying it wasn't exciting enough. They might have gone back to the drawing board and just shown the cooler things.
Sure. Anyway, it's going to be really exciting. I mean, it's soonish now. You know what I mean? We're in September. It's out April next year. It feels like we've been waiting.
Getting there.
It's getting there.
It's definitely getting there.
It's feeling closer. I mean, and this period of the year just flies by.
I feel like Death Stranding... I feel like Death Stranding is out sooner, but it feels longer for me. It just feels like such a... I don't know what the fuck this game is. It feels like it's still 5 years off.
Point of conversation as well, because I've definitely read some mixed opinions about Death Stranding's gameplay, because they did actually show gameplay to journalists at Gamescom this year. And some of the feedback has been like, it looks pretty cool, sort of. Maybe not the most exciting thing ever, but it looks sort of... They said it looks like a less action-y version of Metal Gear Solid 5.
Sure.
There's a lot of walking around.
A lot of FedEx packages that you're delivering.
And you're a repairman, you're a delivery man.
A lot of laddering.
And that's it. Like, so some journalists did walk away saying, yeah, this doesn't look super exciting. They still think it looks great in terms of its story and in terms of its characters and world, and all that looks super engaging. Very sort of like intellectual. It's looking like it's like Parisian cinema. Do you know what I mean? It's like you go to those indie cinemas.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like those European films.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
What kind of European films are you talking about?
The one you see on SBS after 9:30. Australians know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, of course. No, but I look at this and I go, I think that the Kojima effect, it has its pros and cons. Anyone will line up for what you're going to bring out because you're Hideo Kojima. The problem with that is, of course, you're Hideo Kojima. People are expecting brilliance every single time, and they're expecting some breakthrough product that's going to revolutionize gaming or something. And that's the whole Death Stranding thing at the moment. And I think that Kojima's also kind of lent into that by barely showing anything and making each trailer very artistic, very concept driven, and barely any gameplay. So he's putting himself into a position where a lot of people are like, I'm expecting the second coming of Jesus from this fucking game. You know what I mean, though? Like, it honestly feels that way.
I just feel like I'd be totally fine with Cyberpunk being a pretty average game, but a really incredible visual experience and like a story experience and audio experience. Like I'm happy to see whatever he can do, making a sort of
Cyberpunk,
movie.
you mean, or Death Stranding?
I said Death Stranding.
No, you said Cyberpunk.
Okay, sorry.
You're throwing people.
Because I'm looking
what
at
are we talking about?
I meant Death Stranding. I'd be okay with it if we're going in that direction. It doesn't need to be the most exciting video game. I just want to see Kojima's vision on screen, whatever that vision is, because I just trust his vision. Do you know what I mean?
I agree. I think he doesn't have to deliver, a Metal Gear Solid 1 again in terms of like completely just, introduce something that we've never seen. If it's a very solid game and it sets itself up for maybe a franchise, I think that's a job well done, Anyway.
Either way, we'll have a look. Let's have a look next story. We're still on Cyberpunk, actually. And CD Projekt Red won't half-ass Cyberpunk 2077 multiplayer and call it a day.
Jax is trying to get his arms back from the robot. Give me my arms back! Gotcha!
So, CD Projekt Red have said that they are working on multiplayer for Cyberpunk, but it's not coming anytime soon. So, this is what they've said specifically. We're doing R&D into multiplayer, but we're focused on single-player experience at the moment. That's what you'll get in 2020. It doesn't mean we're saying no multiplayer, but it doesn't mean we're saying yes either. It's still in an R&D phase, Yonkers explained. Furthermore, he said that multiplayer mode has to be of the highest quality if it's ever going to see the light of day. The studio valued immersion and wanted to make it right so that it all fits together perfectly. Apparently, they don't want to just half-ass the multiplayer and call it a day. If you add multiplayer function, it has to be right. Immersion is super important for us, and we have to make sure everything fits together. The single-player experience, it all fits together. We're not just going to slap some multiplayer feature in, and that'll be it. So,
cool. Okay.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise.
CD Projekt Red wants to do something good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's. I mean, look. I expected them. For me, this sounds like, look, we're looking into it, but it's a hard maybe.
Yes, exactly. Right.
I think this is their whole vision for this has been very much a single player experience. It looks like.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, look, it'd be kind of cool to see what they do with that, but like, I think it's kind of not risky, but like it's a lot of people might get hyped if they hear them. It's a throwaway comment, really. That whole thing's a throwaway comment.
No, they've said this before many times.
I have that. Okay, fine. But I think a lot of people might get really excited about the potential of that, and then it might never see the light of day. And
I think that's okay. Like I would really trust CD Projekt Red to go through an R&D process, try and make something work, and then say at the end of it, we've decided this is not up to standard. We have not landed this, and move on. Like, I'd be more than happy with that.
I agree with that. I just think that's an internal discussion. It doesn't need to be brought out yet. I think that them them dangling that stuff. I think we love CD Projekt Red.
I think it's just not dangling. I think it's them being transparent.
Fine. What I'm saying is, I just think in those discussions when you're just doing R&D, just maybe wait, until you really go, okay, cool, we might have a solid product here that we might want to do alpha or something.
I disagree. I think that's really
awesome. You just love CD Projekt
No,
Red. Anything they do, I love.
I think it's awesome that they're willing to share with us that they're trying it out. Do you know what I mean?
I'm not saying it's a bad move. I'm just saying it puts them potentially in the position where some people might get really disappointed because they may have shared too early. That's all I'm saying.
I understand. And look, at the very least, even if it's just co-op, I'd kind of be okay with that. I mean, you go back and see all of the Elder Scrolls games go and get a co-op mode eventually through mods, and it's always great. I'd love to see, The Witcher co-op, even though it doesn't really work in the same way. But like, I just think that would be okay at a bare minimum. And if they decide they're going to go that way, cool. If they decide they're going to do some like arena PvP thing, that's also awesome. Anyway, we have missed out on a few.
We've actually missed out a few, so let me go back.
So let's go back. We had Escape. He was a new member, but that was a few days ago.
Okay, appreciate you.
We had Goku saying, "What's up?" for $2.
Thank you very much. Worth the $2. What's up, man?
Then we had $5 from Maniac Survivor. Sam, what are your thoughts on Overwatch role queue?
Okay, actually, role queue I think is quite good. Now, the problem with Overwatch at the moment was people wanted to jump in and play whoever they wanted, and they were not actually creating...
What? We're still talking about Overwatch?
They were not creating...
That game still exists?
That game is very popular still, don't you worry. The problem with Overwatch... Okay, we'll quickly move on from this, but... everyone was just jumping in and not forming a team that was actually working together. It was literally on the verge of a lot of people just not wanting to play. The problem with role queue, in my opinion, though, is it's so rigid. Oh my god, I've been playing it recently, and it just feels this 2-2-2 business. It's lost all its potential to have a lot of interesting builds. That's the main problem with that, in my opinion. I think that they should leave competitive, maybe fine role queue, but leave quick play. This is the thing that I think they're discussing. They should leave quick play as is.
I actually, funnily enough, remember this conversation from League of Legends days where they were like really against set role queue stuff.
It just ruins.
It shatters the meta. It fixes a meta. And it shatters meta.
It destroys the imagination of what can be possible with those different types of heroes.
Yes.
So anyway, guys, I still love my Overwatch though.
And then we've got Brad Kelly says, the missus hates video games but loves Australians and memes. And your
the
channel is
missus.
perfect.
That's an Aussie
The
thing.
missus. I bought her a thick girl shirt for Chrissy.
Oh.
She wears it all the time.
Thank you.
Cheers for the toxic gamer content on a daily basis. Brad, that's an awesome comment.
Brad, we love you, man.
Thank
That
you
is
very
a great
much.
comment.
And to your wife as well.
Thank
Tell her
you.
we say hello. So, let's now keep moving on with the news.
What now?
Matrix 4.
Oh,
So
everyone.
now we're branching out into
Chanwoo.
movie news here, guys, at this moment. But this is
This is going to be the movie segment. There's a couple of things we'll talk about.
That's right. So this is big news, obviously. So Keanu is set to return for Matrix 4.
Yep.
It is actually being directed by Lana Wachowski, and it stars the original cast.
Is it
or
the
like a lot of
Wachowski
them.
brothers or just one?
Just the one, and they're not brothers anymore. They're like, after the thing.
What happened with the thing?
One of them I'm not sure if both or one of them got a sex change, so now it's Lana.
I did not know that.
Yes, that happened.
Oh, really? All right,
Yes.
well.
So
that's
there
just
you go.
Okay.
So,
I'm thinking I'm back. Okay, well, I'm glad that he's back, okay? Look, it's going to be hard, though, because let's face it, the Matrix movie, when it first came out, we were discussing this a couple of days ago, it created it was the most incredible, perfect movie, and then number 2 and 3 weren't as good. They just weren't. Number 2 was
They were
okay.
bad. They were super
Number
bad.
3
Let's be
was
real.
it was like the Back to the Future thing. Number 1 and 2 were fantastic.
Back to the Future 3 was not that bad. It
Okay.
wasn't as good as the other two, but Matrix Reloaded and Revolutions were actually bad
Okay,
films.
Matrix.
They were just like the biggest intellectual wank
they
for
were.
2 hours.
When that guy sat there looking like Colonel Sanders,
Yes.
you know? Yeah, I agree with that. Look, I just think them going into Matrix 4, it's risky territory because he's on a real high right now. This is going to be one of the biggest movies that comes out. When it does come out, oh man, I don't know, dude. I hope it's good. But the only thing I can see is this whole agreement between the robots and the humans disintegrates, and they have to then finish it or something. And then, they kill his dog or some shit, and they steal Neo's car and he's like, fuck it, I'm back.
I think that because the last 2 films were so bad, that we can only go up from here. That's my honest truth.
I
That's my
actually
honest
don't agree
opinion.
with that. I
Really?
still think that
You think it could be worse?
It can be just as bad, which means it's worse. Do you know what I mean? Because if they try and re-enter this, they're putting a lot of chips on the table. It's like, okay, we're going to try this again. It's a bit of a gamble. If it doesn't pay off, it looks even more of a meme, in my opinion.
I don't know. Hopefully they bring like an editor over the top, because I think the Wachowski, back then I think they were brothers. They just had free reign over those movies, and like no one was telling them no, and they're like, let's just do this. Let's have some like weird soliloquy about causality and stuff. I don't know, man. I'm not sure our audience really wants to hear that. They just kind of want to see the fighting Smiths. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. I'm personally excited. I think it's
Sure.
cool.
I mean, we're going to do a review on it. When it comes out, we'll go and see it the moment it comes out. Like, it's going to be exciting.
It's going to be huge.
It's going to be huge.
So
but
we go from good news to now very sad news, and that is that
Robert Downey Jr.
Spider-Man.
SpiderMan.
He's out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe
But don't worry.
Destiny.
Destiny.
Disney split with Sony.
Don't worry, Avengers has a new character, SpiderMan. Okay, he's going to hit cinemas soon. I mean, it's really disappointing to see this because he fits so perfect.
What's the story, Sam?
Okay, cool.
What's the story?
So, Marvel and Sony. Okay, so Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man cinematic, at least, right? Now, they were trying to, strike a deal with Marvel and Disney to make sure that, they were sharing the load financially when they were going forward with new movies. Now, I'm not sure if it was only movies that included the Marvel universe, or was it...
I think it's on both ends. I think it's like, Sony,
Sure.
it's like the actual Homecoming movies or whatever,
Yeah.
but also his appearance in Marvel Comics Universe films.
Yeah, so look, they obviously couldn't come to an agreement, so he is now out. He's out of the Marvel and Disney universe. Well, not Disney Universe, well, Marvel Universe. Okay, he wasn't going to pop up in a the next Beauty and the Beast. But it's a shame because he also apparently unfollowed. This is what I've heard. IGN reported it. Unfollowed Sony on Instagram.
Tom Holland unfollowed.
So
Sony.
he's like, well,
Such
unfollowing
a good move.
you, bitch.
It's like we're breaking up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So look, I mean, I think this is obviously very sad. What it sounds like here is that Disney was asking for more money and a greater share for a product that Sony owned. And I think Disney were just aware of their bargaining position. And they're like, listen, we've got the Marvel Comics Universe. Everyone loves it. No one likes you, Sony. You have to do what we want. And I think, obviously, Sony just kind of said, well, no, thank you. That's not okay. Who knows how it all went down in reality, but that's the feeling I got. Either way, I hope they come down to some sort of solution because it would be super sad not to see Spider-Man in any more Marvel Comics video.
Yeah, because I want to see Robert Downey Jr. and Tom Holland in the
want to hang out again.
I want them to hang out.
It'd be pretty funny if they just retconned the whole thing and they're like, remember when, Tony Stark and Spider-Man died at the end of Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
It was really sad when Tony and Spider-Man died at the end of Endgame. You know? It just gets sliced into the new releases of the film.
And I think the new Spider-Man's going to have, like, Bronze Man. You know, and it's just going to have Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, right, I see. I was
Ralph finally got it.
I was like, Bronze
Iron Man, Bronze Man, okay?
Nice. Okay, good stuff.
Nice.
Okay.
Platinum Man.
So, okay, let's move on back to some gaming news now,
Okay,
right?
cool.
We're no longer moving.
Kingdom
adjacent.
Come, everybody.
So, Kingdom Come was very briefly, sort of, maybe not, banned in Australia.
It is still very... who knows?
No. It is clarified now. Okay, so here's the long story short on this. Kingdom Come Deliverance was a R-rated game in Australia, and that was all fine, no problem, could be sold easy. And then what happened was they were releasing a DLC called A Woman's Lot, and that DLC has one scene in it which has, sexual violence or whatever, or implied sexual violence. And in Australia, you are not allowed to have any implied sexual violence in your video game. So, for example, Hotline Miami 2 is still not available in Australia because there's one scene where it looks like one guy is committing an act of sexual violence against a woman. It's subtle. It's implied, but it's there, and so the game immediately is banned. We still cannot buy it to this day.
Yeah.
It actually came out on the Nintendo eShop recently as part of a Hotline Miami collection in Australia, but then it was quickly taken down again because they realized it was an oversight.
Yeah, I mean, I look at this, and this might be a controversial statement, but like we see this stuff in movies.
It's not a controversial statement.
No, in terms of what I'm going to say. We see this in movies. Why can't we see this in video games?
For sure.
I just look at this and go, okay, look, rape is not a great thing. Fine, we see it in movies already. It's telling a story. It's sometimes part of just telling, a story. It's art, And so I think that video games should have that right to also tell a pretty bad story sometimes, in terms of bad things happening.
For sure. So it was actually, according to a certain international ratings survey that it's used, or a sort of like, classification survey, it was at one point refused classification, and that is definitely confirmed. There's actually some suggestions that this was fake news and it was never, whatever. It is here listed, confirmed as refused classification, which means it's banned in Australia. You can actually see it. It's definitely happened. But then after that, it was changed. So the developer actually tweeted out about this as well.
I did see that, yeah.
He tweeted out, this is the lead developer of the game. I feel young again. Last time I experienced censorship was during my childhood in a communist country. Good times, thought police. I guess I should not visit Australia in order to not be arrested for my crimes, which is having a lead female character attacked by enemies in game. So obviously, he's quite annoyed about it. Fair enough. Completely agree. Sure. But it has been sort of reversed. And so now it's going to be available in Australia. It's not going to be banned. It was sort of like on a list to be banned. Now it is off that list to be banned within the space of 24 hours.
Yeah, and there was another game actually that we can walk to. I don't know what walk.
We
can move on to. There we go. That's the segue I was looking for. We can go to DayZ.
DayZ. So DayZ's another. Oh yeah, we'll just continue with ad blocker. Thank you very much, PC Gamer. So here's the thing.
How dare they want ad revenue for content?
Disgusting.
Am I right?
Should we roll an ad now, Sam? So DayZ actually was also on the same list to be banned in Australia. Reason being that the developers were going to add medicinal marijuana to the game. And another rule in Australian video games is that you cannot have any kind of positive impact from taking drugs in a game. Yep. So that's one of the reasons that Fallout 3 was banned in Australia for a time, because you could pop drugs, get like health boost or whatever, and then off you go. So like that game now was going to be banned in Australia. The developers are now changing that globally so that there's no medicinal cannabis in it at all, so they can continue to sell in the Australian market. Everyone suffers. No one gets any like spliffs as a result of shitty Australian politicians.
Again, I come back to my point before, like, why can't we have that in games, dude? Like, what is the Australian, board happy to have, what's that movie, Blow, from Johnny Depp and stuff, all about drugs, or Scarface, or whatever. But the moment you have anything in here that shows, drugs in a positive way or whatever, it's ridiculous.
As if like some kind of kid's gonna be like, oh my god, he snorted cocaine.
I'm gonna do that too.
And now he's got increased accuracy in combat. That's what I'm gonna do. Do you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck?
It'll be on a current affair though. I don't know if a lot of Aussies know current affair. They'll just pick that story up.
Little Johnny never did cocaine before he played, DayZ. Now look at him. He's like got a credit card out and So look,
Mummy's
anyway,
credit card. Okay,
that's
always.
right. That's right. So look, we
got a
some
few things here. Yep.
Super chat. We've got Travis Hamelsmith.
Why are you always in a
$10.
sweater?
It's hot as balls outside. You hiding your moves. Hey man, it's freezing in Sydney
It's
right
cold,
now.
man.
First
It's
of all,
like 10 degrees here.
First of all,
and yes, we are hiding.
We
our
also are
moves.
hiding moves. But secondly, it's fucking cold in Sydney right now. So
It is very
Take
cold.
that. And Mikhail Blomberg
160,
from
100
Swedish,
sec.
100 sec. I'm not sure how much that is, but thank you.
That's pretty sick, man.
Says,
Thanks.
some funny
That's
money
terrible.
for the memes. For the meme men, thank you for doing well, and cheers for all the content. And this guy, John Paul Fuller Jackson, $2 said, this dub used to be my Saturday morning cartoon.
Oh,
So
well,
true.
This is now
Saturday
your
morning
Friday.
cartoons.
Oh, this is their Friday still.
This is American Thursday night.
Yes, it is, of course.
That's right. So, let's now continue with more news.
Yes.
Microsoft contractors listen to Xbox owners in their home. Right.
We have an Xbox right here.
We do. It's listening to us the entire time.
Okay.
They're reporting back. It's like knock, knock, knock.
Xbox, do you work for the CIA?
Phil Spencer wants to know your location.
Yeah.
Contractors working for Microsoft have listened to audio of Xbox users speaking in their homes in order to improve the console's voice command features, Motherboard has learned. The audio was supposed to be captured following a voice command like Xbox or Hey Cortana, but contractors said these recordings were sometimes triggered and recorded by mistake.
What if your girlfriend's name's Cortana? Okay, every time you're saying, hey, Cortana, and the Xbox is listening, okay?
Who
That's
the fuck has
bullshit.
a girlfriend named Cortana?
Maybe I do, okay?
Oh my God,
Maybe
you
she's a
wish.
virtual girlfriend, okay?
Your body pillow's name is
Yes.
Cortana, Sam, okay?
How'd you know? Damn it.
The news is the latest in a string of revelations that shows contractors working on behalf of Microsoft listened to audio captured by several of its products. Motherboard previously reported that human contractors were listening to some Skype calls as well as audio recorded by Cortana. Xbox commands came up first as a bit of an outlier and then became about half of what we did before becoming most of what we did. One former contractor who worked on behalf of Microsoft told Motherboard. So basically what they're saying is that, yes,
They did
were
more and more
listening.
of it.
They were listening to our conversations at the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm not really surprised,
I was
though.
going to say,
Like,
I'm not really surprised. And
my
like,
Google Home is always listening to me. Like, of
Yeah.
course, sometimes you're just having a conversation and it's like, sorry, I can't help with that right now. And you're like,
Yes.
I was just talking to my wife about her day.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
yeah,
what's up
yeah,
with that?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
no
I do.
surprises.
I mean, I'm not a fan of this. I mean, I don't know how it's going to sound like. If I found out they're listening to me, I wouldn't really. I know it's a violation of privacy, but I'm like, oh god, I knew this was happening anyway. You know, I
feel like if you
I
put
think
a
the
micro-
government is doing this anyway.
I
You
feel
know?
like if you put a microphone in your own house to listen to yourself all the time, then like you're taking your life in your hands. At that
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know
I mean,
what
we've got multiple microphones. Like, I've got ones that we do the narration thing for thing. You've got like 3 or 4 in your room.
Yeah, I
like,
do, I do.
they know everything about us. Okay, they know all our history,
We're definitely
all our
on the
browsing
lists.
history. Everybody.
So yeah, that's the terrifying
That's
part.
the terrifying
Thank you very
part.
much, Aiden with £2 says
Oh, thank you.
listening out for those toxic white mouths.
Thank
we're
you.
pleasure
Toxic
to be
at
here, my
best.
man.
Exactly.
So, going on with more Microsoft news. Microsoft
Sure.
has no plans to release more Xbox exclusive on PS4 or Nintendo Switch. Company says the focus is on its own platforms. Now,
What was the game they did?
Ori. So,
Oh yeah. Okay,
it comes after the firm announced via Nintendo that it will publish Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition on Nintendo Switch. The game was previously exclusive to Xbox One and PC.
Was that a development house that was owned by Xbox?
Yes.
Oh, okay, interesting. Cool,
So
cool.
this is because this is a follow up to an earlier headline, which is like Microsoft says it will release get exclusive games on other platforms, and everyone's like, "Whoa, that's huge news!" You know, like, oh my
Which would
god,
have been kind of cool, but
It would have been super cool.
I understand that. Look, you know, Xbox is not in a great position right now. They need to have all the exclusives they possibly can on their platform to stay relevant, especially with a new console coming out in the next year. For them to be like spreading around or sharing the load, it's not a good idea for them. So I totally get it. Might be great for the gamer, but the bottom line is I also understand from a business point of view they need to stay relevant. So yeah,
for sure.
you know what I mean?
Totally get it. It would have been nice to see it, but it's just not going to happen.
I mean, I didn't think I was going to see Halo on Switch, you know?
no,
Or God of War on Switch.
I
or
don't
some
think that's
shit.
going to happen anytime soon.
You know?
However, though,
was a quick story.
Related, it was a quick story, but really a bit of a setup to this story, which I think is actually
see.
very juicy.
Yes.
So, Sony boss wants to bring first-party PlayStation titles to PC.
Yeah.
No, we don't need this. Thank you very
Ooh,
much.
what's that,
Sony, I don't know. It looks
What
like
is
an
that?
advert
It looks a bit...
something.
Ooh, okay.
Sony Interactive Entertainment boss Sean Layden yesterday alluded to the possibility that first-party PlayStation titles may soon launch on PC. While there's nothing clear to go on just yet, the move would make perfect sense for the company as it prepares for the next console war with Microsoft.
Exactly right.
The news come from Business Insider. And Layden said, "We must support the PlayStation platform. That is non-negotiable. That said, you will see in the future some titles coming out of my collection of studios which may need to lean into a wider install base." And he specifically referenced here the idea of free-to-play titles being available on PC, particularly multiplayer titles, as an area where if you're going to compete in that space, then you need to be on PC to be sort of playing there. You know what I mean?
I think that, PlayStation at the moment sure is dominating the console market, but the one thing that Microsoft does have is it's a multi-platform kind of offering. You can buy a game on Xbox and then you can also play it on PC. So if they can also cover that off, which is very possible and very easy to do, really. Like before, I was kind of thinking, oh, that's the that's the edge that Microsoft has. Well, not really. Actually, all they need to do is just like create an app. Or maybe a Steam presence, an online marketplace on PC. They can do the exact same offering, so it's a smart decision, I think as cloud becomes more popular, which I think it will, and a lot of people are playing on their phones and stuff, the console will also get less relevant anyway. So it's really going to be about accessibility. It's not going to be so much about is it on our console.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you are going to see, and everyone that I've spoken to in the industry, every single person has said that like hardware ultimately will not matter in the future. Like in the sense that we're going to have hardware. If you want to play your games locally, that's fine. You're going to be able to do
have
it.
That choice.
But it's going to matter less than ever. Purely, and it's going to be a battle for content. It's going to be a battle for exclusives. It's going to be a battle for what's your stable of developers and what have you. I look at this and because I've heard this news from other people as well. Like, I've heard rumblings that Sony is planning to bring some of their stuff to PC because they're looking at what Microsoft is doing and they're like, okay, cool. Microsoft have this offering that seamlessly merges these two platforms. PC is the largest gaming platform now. Do we want to choose to be completely absent from that or not? And I think it's just a slam dunk decision for Sony to say, no, we can't avoid that. We can't not meet that challenge from Microsoft. We need to do this.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, with this whole, pardon me, with this whole hardware thing, I've said this before, I do believe it. We're not going to have CD player, we don't have CD players. We don't have DVD players anymore. There is a space to always buy one if you want, but really it's going to be a cloud streaming market for gaming, just like it's happened with the other ones. People might not like to hear that, fine, but you'll always have the choice of maybe buying a hardware. But I think Sony's seen this, and a lot of other companies are seeing this. EA's seen this with making their cloud system. Xbox has seen this with their Stadia. Everyone knows that this is potentially going to be the future of gaming, and Sony just looks like they're gearing up for that in more ways than one. We actually haven't heard much about their cloud system, actually.
Yeah, they have
it's
the
really
whole,
strange.
They have the whole like PlayStation Now thing, whatever it's called right now.
Yeah, but that's different to what.
It's very different, but it's very easily molded into the same sort of thing that Xbox is offering. So,
sure.
Look, either way, I definitely welcome this news. It is a real bummer that so many PC players are going to be able to say play Halo, but never have the chance to play God of War. And Sony's only talked about multiplayer PC titles right now. It's unclear whether this will extend to their single player stuff, but they just brought Detroit out. Now, Detroit was not, they don't own Quantic Dream, I think it's called. Yep. The studio that made it, but that was a first party game. All of those old games are first party. Now they're all available on PC. Hopefully we see more and more Sony stuff make its way to PC. Because
it was on Epic Games, wasn't it? I think
it's an Epic exclusive.
I think it's an Epic exclusive, everybody.
By the way, Hades, which is an excellent game that was an Epic exclusive, has just announced that they're coming to Steam on the 13th of September.
Is that 6 months after now? It must be.
I think it's about 6 months. Yeah. Super giant games. Check them out. They make fantastic stuff, and they're just about to release on Steam. Yeah. So go and
we got one $5 from.
We did. Insomniac Games is now tied to Sony. What do you guys think about that?
Oh, we didn't talk about that. Look, I mean, it felt
Ratchet and Clank was always Sony forever. Spider-Man, Sony exclusive. I mean, I always just parked them in my mind as a Sony exclusive studio. I didn't really know that they weren't owned by Sony, so this is kind of like...
I thought that too, actually.
Yeah, I was like, they weren't already owned? Yeah. That's news. Cool, good for them, I guess.
It does feel like, and there's been some nice Twitter, comments from... Corey's, what's it called now? Corey's studio.
Santa Monica.
Yeah, Santa Monica Studios, sorry. They were like, you guys have always been family. And I was like, I kind of feel that. Yes, it's always been a Sony company, in my opinion.
Sure.
I think it's a good move. I think, they made a fantastic game with Spider-Man. I look forward to the new ones. It's obviously proven to be a very high-quality studio. It's great to put them under their belt. So
yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
That's a massive win. I mean, because obviously Xbox has been...
Maybe knocking on their doors.
Snapping up. Well, I mean, no. I mean, they've been snapping up developers who have been making great games and, Sony are like, cool, we're doing the same thing. You know, we're locking in our stable of developers for next gen.
And they need to do that because I do think, look, before we quickly move on, is the war of the content. It is the war of the exclusives. It's not the war of the consoles.
Exclusive.
Anyway.
So, here's a funny story that we found this week. Sorry, you can't spell out messages with skeleton in WoW Classic. Okay, this is a story that takes me back a long time, and I didn't even remember this until I saw this headline.
I didn't even know this was a thing.
So, anyone here who played Classic may remember. Thank you very much, Axie, $10.
Oh.
Appreciate that. So, anyone who played WoW Classic will remember walking into, like, Orgrimmar or Stormwind or whatever, and finding lots of skeletons on the ground. And it's sometimes, because what happened back then is that when you killed yourself or whatever, you could actually, your skeleton stayed there for a really, really long time. And what would happen is that people would then spell out words on the floor in Orgrimmar or whatever, with skeletons. And this would sometimes be like offensive hate speech terms, and it would also be advertising for gold sites or what have you. Or it would just be like, Lancel is a noob, you know what I mean? Like, your main tank is a noob or whatever. Like, it's all sorts of playful stuff. You're not going to be able to do that here in WoW Classic. They're actually specifically removing the ability to spell out words with corpses. They said, while we understand that this was a flavorful part of original WoW and the earlier expansions, individual players leaving multiple player corpses and skeletons throughout the game can lead to behavior such as spelling out advertisements, hate speech, and other negative messages. As such, this will not be a part of
It's
WoW
no
Classic.
longer WoW Classic, everybody. All right,
They're
cancel
already
your
nerfing
pre-orders.
it. Yes.
Cancel that shit. It's no longer what you remember. I actually don't remember this.
I played
a decent amount of WoW
this.
Classic. I do not remember ever looking, in Orgrimmar and going, oh, there's a message, or there's like a very evil symbol or something. I never saw
Not naming any specific symbols.
Not naming any symbols.
Don't want to get demonetized.
It's also loved by other people, apparently, in terms of the Buddhists, but whatever. I look at that and go, I have to remember that. So that's weird to take it out, but a lot of people obviously are going to miss that.
That's sad. I mean, it was a fun feature. I'm sad that it's gone. So anyway, that's 2019 for you.
That's
man. We can't have nice things anymore. That's
you can't have hate speech anymore. What the hell, man? Fuck.
It wasn't just hate speech though. It was all sorts of stuff.
God, I'm sick.
Yeah, you are, man. Your smoker's cough is really catching
It's
up.
not
with
even
you, man.
smoker's cough. It's not even smoker's cough.
All right, so here's a follow-up story from what we covered this week. We covered this quite large because it was definitely the biggest story of the week. This was the Apex Legends Meltdown. They had a $170 loot box event where if you wanted to participate in said event, cool, be less poor. You have to pay
less poor.
You have to pay $170 to unlock all of the items. You can only earn 2 loot boxes. You have to buy the other 22, and when you do that, you then also need to buy the hatchet on top of it, which costs an extra like $10 or $15. So $170 to fully enjoy this event that they have put on, which is like the price of 3 full-priced games. They absolutely took the piss here. It was embarrassing. The developer then went on to say, "Oh, we really missed the mark here. Like we're sorry we broke our promise." And as they were saying that, they were responding to people in the comment section.
Drew McCoy.
Just basically calling them out. Drew, at some point, was calling gamers dicks.
Yeah,
ass hats. Them ass hats.
Freeloaders.
Was saying anyone that doesn't play the pay money is a freeloader, even though we love that.
Yeah.
But you're still freeloaders. Really bad. Vince Zampella, the head of Respawn, the guy who, originally made the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Sure.
He gave... Ooh, hello.
Oh, sorry.
He said, on Friday, we gave Apex fans an update on how we're changing the Iron Crown event. Some of the team then joined a discussion with our community on Reddit, and things got to a pretty bad place. Some of our folks crossed a line with their comments, and that's not how we want Respawn to be represented. I apologize to any of our fans that were offended. I will always stand behind the team here at Respawn and support them on speaking out against some of the toxic and nasty comments being directed at them, including everything from death threats to comments aimed at their families and loved ones. But we shouldn't contribute to it, and when we do comment and add to the very thing we want to prevent. We need to lead by example. Last week we didn't do that, and going forward we'll do better. Having an open, healthy relationship with our community is incredibly important to all of us at Respawn.
Okay, so I find that super...
Look, he did the right thing. He ticks all the right boxes, don't get me wrong.
He needed to do that, fine. But I think in that moment I was really expecting him to be like... He's kind of supporting what Drew was doing in a way, saying that, he was saying that they're not going to back when it's, hate speech or things against their family, sure. But, I don't know, I feel like from the comments we were seeing, that was not really the issue here, It was about how Drew was speaking, and I don't know. I just expected him to be more like, guys, this is really not okay, and I really don't.
He said that though. I mean, he can't like prostrate himself and be like, "I'm so sorry,
Well,
please forgive us."
No, not that.
He's just said, "Look, they did the wrong thing. They went too far. That's not what we want. We're
Sure.
sorry about that. We're sorry if anyone was offended."
I wonder. Look, I actually hope that I don't expect Drew to like lose his job or something, but
No.
I wonder what kind of things are going to happen. To show the community that they are going to take action against that.
Well, I mean, look, at the end of the day, you got the CEO coming in over the top saying, "Our guys are out of line and I'm apologizing on their behalf." You can only assume that Drew would have had a stern talking to at some point.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure he'll be on a tight leash now when it comes to social media. I think that what I was missing from this was, oh, by the way, we're also fixing our fucked up event. Because right now they said, oh, we're going to add the ability to earn this stuff for free next event. But we're like, well, what about this event? So they made no effort to change this event.
It's so easy to actually change that.
They're leaving it exactly the same. They're not extending it and offering people the chance to earn this stuff. They're leaving exactly the same duration, and you still have to pay for all of it. So I think that, yeah, cool, you've apologized for being a jerk. Appreciate that. But I think that really most people who play Apex Legends would care far more about you actually making good on this whole loot box drama and fixing that rather than like offering up an apology. So.
Yeah, I guess for me, when he said I always stand behind the team here at Respawn when speaking out against the toxic and nasty comments, that's what I was just like, oh, is he really like...
No, but I mean, like,
I don't know.
I feel like, as I said, obviously there's a place for developers to be able to talk and have a response back to people who are being really toxic. But the answer, as he said, is not to be toxic in response.
Sure.
The answer is just to be like, hey man, I don't feel like that kind of contribution is appropriate. I'm gonna move on from this discussion, or I'm gonna deal with your point here in this way. Whatever. Anyway, look,
I feel like that. I think this story's now done. I don't think we're going to see any more. Sadly,
Yeah, sadly.
We would have loved to see more memes, more ads made by Apex Legends.
Yes.
Problem.
So we've got Axie says $10. Good job, guy. Thank you very much. Bartos says, Sam, please never stop your puns. You, sir, are a legend. That is a lie.
The man has taste.
That is a
Thank
lie.
you, my
That
friend.
is 20
Love you,
pounds
appreciate
as well,
you.
so that's very generous.
That's right.
Thank
I'll
you.
take that money.
Hey,
Ralph.
my friend Zendru is here. He says, hey, mate, thanks for fun in Remnant. Just bought it and I would contribute to... Just thought I would contribute to Ralph's 4th PC mouse. Have a good weekend. So basically, I have 3 mice on.
Oh my god, he has the worst one. Also, that old MMO one. Oh, what's it called again?
G600.
No, the one that's it has like all the buttons on the side.
G600.
Oh, I thought it was named.
Anyone
something else.
in the chat who
Banaga or
uses
something.
the G600, listen to what Sam just said. You're going to get so much hate. Anyone who uses the G600 knows it is a beast mode mouse. It is the best MMO mouse on the market.
So annoying.
Anyway, the point is I have 3 mice. I use one for MMO, one for FPS, and one for my second PC. So Zendru's making fun of that. Zendru was the guy that played with us on Remnant, by the way. So thanks very much, Zendru, for your help on that. We've got Rixie. Hey, there's another guy. Rixie's from my stream. I'm a toxic ass freeloader. I don't want this new beardy guy. Beardy guy. But I can get along with they just make good memes. Thank you very much,
good.
Rixie. Appreciate you. And Jimmy says, when they fire McCoy, I hope Andrew Wilson says it like the EA South Park episode, time for the good old EA saying, get the fuck out of my building.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that either, but I'm not a huge South Park fan, so I'll
Me
take your
neither.
word on that, man.
But we'll take your word, man.
So-
Maybe it'll be a meme in the future. Maybe I'll throw it in just for you.
So let's talk about Doom Eternal. This one here is actually going to be about 20 hours long is what they've said here.
Yeah.
So let's, if we can,
Is
we
there
can
music
play
on
this
that? 'Cause
now.
we don't want to have copyright strike.
There is some, can you guys, listen. Can you guys hear this? I don't think they can hear that properly. Okay, cool. All right, I think that's going to work. We've got desktop sound off. So let's just go back. So what this little clip says is that Doom Eternal is going to be about 20 hours long. If you
A bit
play
longer
through
than
it,
the
right?
other one.
So that includes all like collection of like secrets. It includes the whole sort of like you've got like your stat bar in terms of like filling out all your stats and unlocking all your weapon stuff. It's going to be about 20 hours long. I think most people who played through the original like Doom 2016 did so in about 12 to 15 hours.
Yep.
So this seems like he says it's definitely coming in longer. Whether or not it reaches the full 20 hours, who knows?
That could mean 100% 20 hours, you know.
But look, yeah, even if it's exactly the same length as Doom, like
It feels like a
2016,
good length.
I'm okay with that. I
Yeah.
don't necessarily need it to be longer. I feel like it was perfect for what it was, so that's fine. But at least
I
anyone,
agree.
because I know a lot of people make decisions based upon how many hours of gameplay they can expect, and this one, I think it's gonna land somewhere between 15 and 20 hours based upon their comments. We do obviously need to take this with a grain of salt. Developers love to exaggerate this sort of thing. Like we recently had Wolfenstein Youngblood, where the developer was like, it's about 25 to 30 hours to finish the game. It's over in about 10 hours, right? It's fucking over at that point, by the way. It's not like, oh, I've got so much more to do. It's like, I'm so fucking done with this game. Complete lie. Complete lie.
But I'm okay with that because I do look at this and go, look, you know, it's very much about, you know, going into new environments, fine, and, you know, and killing new waves of enemies and cool. But after 10 or 12 hours, I think you've experienced what you want to experience. So if it's 100% 20 hours, that's cool. If it's 10 or 12 hours of just finishing the campaign, I still feel like that's a pretty good mark to hit. You know?
Totally agree. So look, I'm super excited for Doom. Obviously, Bethesda is a garbage tier publisher, but id is a god tier developer. And I really hope that, I mean, I'm sure that Doom Eternal is going to be a fantastic game. I really hope Bethesda just don't fuck it up with just their bullshit.
I mean, I wonder how much influence they will have though in terms of monetization. They're definitely going to have some influence.
I mean, the developer are just like, Bethesda just the greediest fucks right now. They're so bad. They're such a bad company.
But I look at this and go, look, maybe Doom is like, look, you know, we know we can't touch this, so Bethesda just won't even go near it.
I hope so. I really hope that id just put their foot down.
And I think that
like,
was,
listen,
that was
we're
your
all going
opinion
on
before.
What's that?
That was your opinion before. Like when we spoke about it months ago, you were like, nah, they won't touch this. This is.
I don't think they will. I don't think they will. I believe that id will put their foot down. I believe they understand how sacred this franchise is and how core it is to gamers. But we said the same thing about Fallout. You know what I mean? Like. And look what happened to 76. Do you know what I mean?
Like Fallout wasn't this. It's a different thing, I think, compared to Doom.
It's obviously a different thing.
Yeah.
But so I just think it would be really, really dumb for Bethesda to like jack this full of microtransactions. But I would not put it past them given their track record. Let's just say that. So
yes.
Anyway, on from that onto more gaming related footage stuff.
Avengers.
The Avengers gameplay is actually now out in the wild officially. By the way,
it actually looks a bit more polished.
I don't think so. I just think we're seeing it on a screen as opposed to one of the monitors. So
we saw it on a screen then too.
No, I mean like we're watching monitors up on the wall, you know, and it's like
maybe,
whatever. We're sitting here like anyway. My point is that
doesn't know what his point is. But anyway, look, we saw this and we were blown away by the fact that that they didn't show this earlier because it looked so fantastic. The actual announcement when it was announced at E3 was, hey, that's all about the monetization and not show you anything about the game.
Content.
All this kind of weird stuff, right? So of course it angered a lot of people, and for me it worried me because I was like, when a game doesn't show anything or is very cagey about what they want to show, it can be a big warning sign, you know? But this came out, we saw it behind closed doors, and it was fantastic. They've shown it now, and hopefully a lot of people now are on board with this game, because they should be. It looks great.
It looks cool. In particular, the Cap gameplay was what I really liked. So when we got up to Cap, this is this part here, you can see it gets going. And this is the part that I really started to enjoy. Like, go think, okay, I'd love to be able to play this. Like, you can see his like animations look great. I mean, Cap's my favorite Avenger. It just looks super fun to play as him. You know what I mean? And we never saw any of this footage leaked earlier. I think this looks like a pretty fun action game. I don't think this is going to be incredible Game of the Year material, but I do feel it looks like a good, fun, solid romp. And I feel like if you just want to play through as the Avengers with your mates, because you're going to be able to play co-op as well, then that's fine. This intro mission, I believe, it looks like it's a solo-only mission.
Yeah, it's like the tutorial.
Because it kind of cuts between, a few of the Avengers, and you can only control one of them at a time. Very scripted. But it sounds as though, or I know for a fact that other levels you will be able to play co-op with your friends, up to 4 players, I think.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm personally really excited for it, but also, also cautious because of the fact the whole live service focus they've had. I feel they've really bungled the release of this, or the reveal of this game. Focusing on all the wrong things when they should have just let the gameplay speak for itself, and they should have just said, cool, we're giving you all the Avengers you want at launch. There's no live service garbage. That's it. Do you know what I mean? That's my one concern about this game.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that what they need to get right in this is people are so used to the Avengers movies in terms of a lot of action. Great. But there's also a lot of relationship building between the characters, or scenes where the actual characters are actually having some semi-meaningful dialogue. Hey, fine, it's not like the best dialogue ever, but there's an emotional hook to that brings all the Avengers together. If you make a game that's 15 hours long that's just smashing into enemies, that is boring. You want to see something that slightly emulates or mirrors what the Avengers movies have done, in my opinion.
And I think that there's already some signs of that. So we saw, if you watch this full trailer, which you can just search for yourself, you will see some moments where it does have some insight into the characters. And there's one part where Banner actually is kind of all right, time to go do my thing. And there's
Yeah.
this sadness in his eyes and his posture because he realizes he has to be Hulk in that moment, you know? And it's kind of like, that's interesting to me. That shows that I think they're trying to deal with the characters in an interesting way.
Yeah.
So look, you guys can check this out. You can go and Google this gameplay and see what it's like. You can watch the whole thing. But that's pretty much it for...
Are we done?
We're done. That's all the news
Shit.
we've got covered for today. That was all we wanted to talk about.
What else
so,
we got to talk about?
buy our Cyberpunk stuff.
Yeah, display.
And buy our merch.
Yeah, and that's it.
That's it, really. We hope you guys have a great week. As I said, we're not on this weekend. We're going to have the weekend off. We're going to be back hopefully
Someone
on Monday.
is a slacker.
If there's juicy news, we'll be back. But do we miss any of the shout-outs just before we
Oh,
done?
yeah.
Someone said, and Adrian Malone, what happened to Spider crawling on your shirt? Remember that time?
Remember that? See, that was an alter alpha moment, everyone. A giant spider. I was like, click. Back to the news.
It was actually crawling on his face. It was ridiculous.
I had no idea it was there. If I knew it was a spider, I would have completely.
And Adam with
screamed.
£2 says, best channel watching while taking dump Yong out.
Ah, Yong out.
And with that Yong out, we'll take our own Yong out
discussions.
Oh, actually, we've got one more from
Oh,
Tito.
thank you.
Finally caught the boys live. Sorry to love you and leave you, Tito. We appreciate you, dude, but we're out. You can watch. The
I mean,
VOD.
we'll
It'll
stay
be
for
out.
another $100 donation or whatever. But
Wow.
All right, guys.
Thank you very much,
Appreciate
guys.
ya.
And we'll see
Yong
you
out.
next time as soon as I click on the thing.
When Ralph does
which is
the
just
thing.
going to take a minute. And,
I'm not even on there. Oh, I am.
go.
There we go. Yeah.
And
I think it's upside down.
Upside down, Sam.
We're gonna do it like Arthur's
Upside
Pizza.